Today, I'm going to be demonstrating some of the new features that were pushed out with the Proloquo2Go 5 update in March. We're going to talk about 3 specific features in this video. First, I'll be showing how to change the grid size for an existing user. Second, we will take a look at the new search feature. Finally, I will demonstrate possibly the coolest new feature within the update, progressive language. All of these examples will be done by using an iPad. Let's get into it. The folks out of Systemware have made changing the grid size super easy with this new update. Say you have a user that is growing out of their current grid size. Maybe initially they struggled with the dexterity required to navigate across buttons and pages, and now they have it down, so you're ready to move on to more vocabulary. Or maybe you put a user at a lower vocabulary level and they breezed through it and now need more vocabulary. Or maybe you goofed up and accidentally selected the wrong grid size and you want to change it but don't want to create an entirely new profile. You can now change the grid size in 3 easy steps. First, click the Options button, which is the cogwheel in the right corner. Second, select the Appearance tab. Once you're in the Appearance menu, you can scroll down to where it says View and change the default grid size. You can select from their pre-programmed sizes or scroll all the way to the bottom and customize your own grid by selecting Other Grid Size. Next, we're going to talk about the search feature. Begin by selecting the Tools button, which is the 4 small squares in the bottom left corner. The Tools menu pops up and you can see the new Search button, the one with the magnifying glass. It will bring you to a new screen where your predictive text keyboard pops up. Begin to type the button or folder you wish to search for. For this example, we will search for rain boots. So I'll just start to type this in. As you see, when you start to type in the letters, it begins to predict what buttons you could be looking for. I see rain boots, so I will click on it. It doesn't give me the option to just select rain boots at this point. It's going to walk me through the folders until I find where the button is located. This is a great resource for new users looking to find buttons and users that have new vocabulary added to their profile. It makes finding those buttons a lot easier. So I'll select the rain boots. It jumps back to the home page and the Things button is highlighted while the rest of the buttons are dimmed. I can try all I want to click on any of those dim buttons, but this feature will only allow me to move through the path one button at a time. So I'll navigate to the Things folder, then to the Clothing folder, the More button, the Shoes folder, the More button again, and the Rain Boots button. You may have noticed that in the message window up until this point, the letters I typed in the search bar were still there. Once I selected the button, those disappear and the button pops into the message window. Finally, we're going to look at the progressive language feature. This is similar to changing the grid size. However, it is more structured in terms of development. What I mean by this is that progressive language is designed to gradually unhide buttons in a developmental progression so your user can build their language skills to access a larger vocabulary. Before we start the demonstration, I would like to mention that this feature is only available when using the crescendo vocabulary in the intermediate or advanced core vocabulary levels. To turn on progressive language, go to the Options button and press Vocabulary, and then Progressive Language. Toggle it on and choose the number of steps you would like your user to go through. You can see at this grid size, I can go up to the 60 default buttons, but I could do them in steps if I wanted to. Let's try step 1 first. You can see right away that the buttons have dimmed off the home page. There are only 22 buttons showing on each page in this step. Let's explore that. When you go into edit mode by selecting the pencil, you can see that all of these buttons are dimmed. You can edit them individually to unhide them, or you can move up to another step, which is what we are going to try to do next. As we progress through the steps, more and more words start popping up. The reason why we can't pass step 5 is because this grid size is too small. To fix this, we can follow the steps I outlined in our first demonstration. You can see on this level, there are only 2 steps available for this particular grid size. If I go back into step 1, I see the buttons that have been hidden. Now, let's try changing the grid size again, back to our 60 buttons, and you can see here that the number of buttons has still remained the same for step 1. They've just increased because the grid size has increased. One thing you do need to be careful of is that when you search using the search tool, the buttons that are dimmed will still appear within the search results. The buttons that are visible to the user are highlighted, but you still might have a user attempting to get into those dim buttons that will not pop up into the message window. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope that you learned something from it.